The American dream. It's not working hard to be successful, but getting rich doing almost nothing. And that dream may not be as impossible as it may seem, as several times in the past, many people have stumbled upon treasures long lost to time, resulting in riches beyond belief. Don't believe me? Well, here are 5 real times this has happened that you've probably never heard of, even though the last one is cheating a little bit. The Staffordshire Horde. Let me take you back to a long distant past, 2009. Terry Herbert, a member of a metal detecting club, was searching some recently plowed farmland around Staffordshire with a metal detector as you would expect a member of such a club would do. But instead of finding soda pop tabs or the much more valuable bottle cap, he found over 244 gold objects. And you know what's better than finding 244 gold objects? Contracting Birmingham Archaeology to excavate the area to find thousands of more objects, including over 5 kilograms of gold objects, 1.4 kilograms of silver objects, and over 3,500 other garnet-laden objects. These objects dated back to an even distanter past of around 650 CE, and they represented early medieval Anglo-Saxony. Most of the objects were military in origin, such as pieces of sword or other decorations, but they did include 3 religious objects. One of the most interesting pieces found was a strip of gold about 7 inches long that was engraved with the following Bible quote: Solge Domine et dispentor, inimici tui effugiunt, qui odorant te a facie tua. Or, as it's translated in the King James Version of the Bible,
Rise up, Lord, and let thine enemies be scattered, and let them that hate thee flee before thee.
The find was valued at £3.3 million, which was split equally between Terry Herbert and the owner of the farm in which it was found, as per the 1996 Treasure Act. By the way, if there are any lawyers out there who are watching who specialize in treasure law, please message me, as I've got many questions. Bactrian gold. What do you get for defiling graves in Afghanistan? Well, if you're Russian archaeologist Viktor Sarianidi, you get treasure beyond your wildest dreams. In 1978, he was leading a team excavating ruins of what was thought to be an ancient fire temple from the Iron Age around the Bactrian Plain. It dated between 1500 to 1400 BCE. While doing so, a worker noted a small golden disc in the ground, and after an inspection, Sarianidi excavated the area, revealing the remains of a young woman that was surrounded by gold jewelry and other ornaments. And what's better than 1 grave filled with priceless treasures? 6 graves filled with priceless treasures, of course, or at least that's as many as they were able to exhume during their excavations before the outbreak of the Afghani Civil War. There were over 20,000 relics found that were dated between 100 BCE to 100 CE, and it was believed that these remains were from people either of nobility or royalty, and part of a nomadic tribe such as the Yuezhi. The hoard was comprised of items produced from all over ancient Eurasia, and included things like coins from Gaul and India and artifacts from as far away as China. The find was even thought to have been lost in the 90s due to the lootings of the National Museum of Afghanistan, but in reality, the treasures were removed in 1989 and located in a vault in the Central Bank of Afghanistan, where they stayed in secret until after the Taliban was deposed, where in 2003, the vault almost had to be cracked because the 7 key holders' names were purposefully kept secret. Luckily, 5 of them showed up in time to open the vault safely, and it was confirmed that a catalog of 22,000 objects was still there and complete. The Huxley Hoard. Quick question. Where do you think you'd be able to find the largest collection of gold and silver coins from the Roman Empire? Rome, maybe? Well, of course not. Clearly, you look in Suffolk, England, where in 1992, Eric Laws, another British metal detectorist, stumbled upon a wooden box from a little after 400 CE that just happened to contain over 15,000 gold, silver, and bronze coins from the Roman Empire. These coins coincided with the very end of Britain being a Roman province, and they were meticulously sorted by type in small wooden boxes and bags. It also included some silver tableware and jewelry, and was valued at about £4.5 million today. It was found when Peter Whatley asked his friend Eric to help him find his lost hammer with his metal detector, but instead of finding the hammer, the two found silver spoons, coins, and gold jewelry. The land was owned by Suffolk County Council, and they were notified of the find, and they swiftly hired a team of archaeologists who excavated the site in a single day. They were clearly well suited for the job because not only did they find this treasure trove, but they were also able to find Peter Watling's missing hammer. Sadly, he didn't get to keep it for long, as it was donated to the British Museum. I think he was okay with it because after a coroner's inquest, the hoard was declared a treasure trove, meaning the crown would get it if nobody could lay claim to it. But as was customary at the time, the money equivalent of the find was given to Laws, who shared it with Peter. Also, if you'd like to know more about why a coroner is the one in charge of found treasure, please let me know in the comments, as that sounds like it would be a pretty interesting question to have answered. Schroda treasure. Next up, we have an example of how not to treat an important archaeological discovery. In Środoslaska, Poland in 1985, demolition and digging began for a new telephone exchange building, during which a vase filled with thousands of silver coins was found. Now, you would think this would trigger further excavation or at least some sort of archaeological study, but this isn't the case. Nothing was done until 1988, when during another demolition close by, an even bigger find of gold and silver florin coins was found. Yet again, it was botched, and the majority of the items discovered were looted well before the area could be properly secured. It is believed that the coins and other treasures that were found belonged to King Charles IV of the House of Luxembourg, and were pawned around 1348 to support his claim to the title of King of the Romans, which was a title generally referring to a German king in the time between being elected, which I know is a weird thing to think about in terms of being royalty, and when he is coronated as the Holy Roman Emperor by the Pope. This treasure was then thought to have been lost after being hidden for hundreds of years. In addition to coins, the find included a golden woman's crown, 4 gold pendants, and several other mixed trinkets. The hoard was valued at somewhere between $50 and $100 million in the early 2000s. The Venus de Milo. Now, many of you may think this is cheating, but to be fair, I knew of the Venus de Milo, but I definitely did not know that it was found by accident. I don't think many people would argue that it's not a find that was priceless, but it was almost completely ignored. The story goes that on April 8, 1820, a Greek farmer named Yorgos Kontrokos on the island of Melos was either clearing a field or scavenging rocks and marble for building purposes when he started to uncover the sculpture. He didn't realize its importance and was just going to leave it and move on, since for him it's no good for building, but luckily Olivier Vautier, a French naval officer and archaeological enthusiast, saw what he had uncovered and offered to pay him to excavate the rest of the statue. The statue was found with both arms missing, although there was a hand found nearby holding an apple that likely was from the statue. And there were also 2 herms, which are statues which have a head and sometimes shoulders and a square base, and many times they have male genitals located at their appropriate height. For those keeping track on this channel, this is the second time we've referenced stone phalluses, and so far neither have been about the statue of David, so go figure. After being purchased, the statue was immediately put on display at the Louvre, where it quickly became a favorite due to its craftsmanship, beauty, and the rarity of having a true ancient Greek statue. Many ancient marble statues were Roman reproductions of Greek statues, so having a truly Greek statue is a rarity. And although it isn't from the more coveted classical Greek period, it is still a beautiful piece of Hellenistic Greek sculpting from around 100 BCE, which despite its missing appendages, was still one of the best preserved ancient Greek statues in existence. The statue is named the Venus de Milo because it is commonly thought to be a statue of Aphrodite from Melos. And before your face turns red from frustration, let me explain that statement. First, I'm American, and I'm going to talk American. So I'm pronouncing Milo, Milo, instead of the more French pronunciation of Milo. Second, Milo from Milo is referring to the island from where the statue is found, Melos, which has been spelled both M-I-L-O-S and M-E-L-O-S. Now for the Venus part. Venus is the Roman counterpart of Aphrodite, who is the god the statue is most commonly believed to be depicting. One of the things that is supporting this theory is that the hand that's holding an apple found close to the statue thought to be from it is most likely representing the Apple of Discord, which was a golden apple given to Aphrodite from Paris. On a tangent to this tangent, Apple of Discord sounds pretty badass, unless you use it as your name on Discord. Then it kind of gives it more of a Richard Scary vibe instead, and despite being literally more scary, is ironically less scary as well. This is the leading theory of who the statue is depicting, but it's not conclusive, and there are other theories that are legitimate. Now, why is it named Venus and not Aphrodite? Well, the original name given to the statue was Venus Victrix, or Venus Victorious, which was a common epithet given to her because of her victory over men's hearts and the victory in winning the apple from Paris. But if it's clearly Greek, why call it by the Roman name of the god? This bothered me. This bothered me so much that I actually read some of the original 1821 publications on the statue in French, and they all refer to the statue as Venus and the gods by their Roman names. So my best guess is that this was just the common practice at the time, as Roman sculptures were more common, and as far back as Hellenistic Greece, where the statue was made, the Romans were already occupying Greece, and they dominated Mediterranean culture. Think about it. We still do this sort of thing in many instances in terms of giving the priority to Roman names when referring to these gods. The planets are all named after Roman gods, with the planet formerly named George's star and the object formerly named a planet being the two exceptions. And even the Disney movie that specifically was about Greek gods was called Hercules instead of Heracles. What a slap in the face. So my assumption is that the Roman naming convention was just used because that's what was done at the time. Even the period of art from the 17th to 18th centuries was called Romanticism, not Grecism. And before we slip any deeper into madness, we should probably stop at that. But if you want to see anything else on these topics or more, leave me a comment below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Frank Ciopatini with Servetti Software, and I'll see you in the next one.